Pete, what did you make of today's performance from your team? And why was it so bad? You're on mute,
You're
bro.
muted.
Sorry, actually, I kept myself on mute because I didn't want to interrupt that Liverpool fan. If a Liverpool fan's talking about poor recruiting, I'm going to trust his judgment because of what he's had to see over at his club. Now, when it comes down to this game, we are inconsistent. And I'm looking at what we're doing in attack. I'm looking at what we're doing in the midfield and in defense. We're so inconsistent. I think Pep is trying to find a solution because this is a new 11. He hasn't played these guys together. He's given a youngster a chance in defense. He's also giving roles to Rico Lewis. So I think it's him trying to find the midfield and defensive solutions for why we've been so poor and why we've been conceding goals first and why we've been so leaky. No one's asking for sympathy. Absolutely not. We would never get it. We're the treble four-peat winners. No one.
No. Sorry. But then you need to call out Professor Hamza. Hamza has asked for it directly on this show. So you condemn him what he said, that no one should be giving you sympathy.
No, I'm making the point. Addressing Professor Hamza and everyone else, no one's going to give us sympathy. No one's going to look at us that way for how dominant and successful we've been. With regards to Pep, he is dealt with a very unique situation because of the players that have been injured, because of the lack of a Ballon d'Or winner. That's going to affect anybody. And even the best managers, the Liverpool fan just left, talking about Klopp not finding solutions. That's at the end of a season. We're looking at 4 games on the bounce with a loss where Pep hasn't found a solution. I'm confident. Professor Hamza and other City fans will be confident that Pep will find it. It's just taking time.
Find it easy.
And fail. I just want to point out that the players are wounded. This club's wounded.
Yeah,
we've been going full tilt for 5-6 seasons now, right? And when we were pursuing to get the Champions League and we got that in a trouble-winning season to then repeat and have a 4-peat, it's going to have its toll. And no one's ever dealt with this. No manager in world football has dealt with what Pep's got to deal with. So the fact that he's got 4 losses on the bounce never happened in his career. It's also never happened in his career where he's led a team to win a 4-peat after a trouble. So he's got some unique situations. I don't know where he finds it. And us as fans would be hypocrites if we tried to claim that we did, because this is unique.
Ferguson crumbled in his 3rd season. After 3rd season, he couldn't take it in 4th season.
Yeah, managers.
Okay.
After winning a season.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying. You've been really, because you've got an amazing squad and because you've been winning and because you're one of the best teams in the world. That unique situation excuses 4 defeats on the bounce.
I didn't mention the excuses, Terry. I'm pointing out a situation that's going to be extremely difficult. Winning a 5-peat is it's the hardest thing Pep's ever had to deal with.
Winning a 5-peat's hard, but this is 4 defeats on the bounce where you've looked poor, the structure's bad. As soon as you are pressured in the game, you crumble. That's not because you're trying to win a 5-peat. I don't believe you crumbled in the second half because the players went, oh my God, how do we cope with going for a 5-peat? There's something structurally wrong with your team. And if you built your whole team where it can only cope with Rodri, that's weak, bruv. That's weak.
No, dealing with the loss of Rodri without a KDB having to come back healthy or other players is very different. That's not weak. And Terry, I'm not talking about because we're pursuing a 5-peat. I'm talking about the pursuit, the accumulation of having to have won a 4-peat. To have gone that far. And again, we got interrupted.
And they're on top of the league without Rodri.
Yeah, this could have been 6 in a row. This could have been 6. But Liverpool have been pushing
had to be injured. John Stones was out. Diaz was out. That needed 8. You had to take 9 of the men down for them to have that adversity. Because it was not 1 injury. It was 8, 9 injury. Grealish, Doku's out. Immense pressure. No any other manager would have coped. Liverpool would have crumbled. Take Salah and Van Dijk from Liverpool. Who? The 11th man. Take a Arsenal Odegaard. They're complaining. Odegaard. Take a William Saliba. They're finishing 8th.
The problem is what I have with your excuses, boys, is I do a lot of shows with you. When other clubs have moaned or complained about players being missing, you lot absolutely scoff at it. But that's your go-to excuse when your team loses 4 on the bounce. I have to say, boys, I'm disappointed in your approach to this because it's extremely hypocritical.
No
from the
one's
two of
making
you.
excuses. We're pointing out the situation of what's being dealt with. Every time I say, Terry, this is what we're dealing with, and this is what Pep's trying to figure out, you then summarize and try to feed the chat that I'm making an excuse.
No, it's not about finding it. It's because every single time I've seen other clubs do it, I've had you City fans on here for years, good guys. You turn around and go, no excuse, find solutions, no excuse. Da, 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 da.
No,
as soon as you're in that situation, you're using the same rationale and reasoning. That is hypocritical.
Okay, now let me answer that, Veto. It's not that. I looked today, I sat down, I thought, Ruben Diaz is like Rudiger. Yeah? Take a Rudiger from Madrid. Take a John Stone who's Militao.
Again, but you're doing it, Hamza. We're not going through. We're not going to repeat this again. I don't disagree, Hamza. I don't disagree. I don't disagree that your injuries are a problem. You're missing the point. The fundamental point is you're right to a large degree. I don't think you're overly wrong. But when other people have used these reasons, City fans, more than anybody else, have come in and said, "Do not give excuses. Do not chat nonsense. This is all cap. It's nothing to do with that. Find a solution. Find a way. Have it. No. Nonsense about credit in the bank. When any other team, don't tell me Liverpool ain't got credit in the fucking bank with what they've won in their lives. When any other team has suffered the same problems as you, especially yourself, Hamza, you have not let them breathe or let them utter those excuses without ridiculing them and laughing at them. I'm calling out the hypocrisy. I don't think you're wrong. I'm just saying that stinks of hypocrisy in terms of what you're saying there. Dayu's with us. What are you here to say, bro?
No, I just want to talk about the game itself. The game itself was City just looked clueless. Like halfway, like the first 30 minutes, they looked good. When they scored, I was like, this is it, it's done. Brighton is not going to recover from this. That's what I felt. But then Brighton came out in the second half really strong. And Hamza, I hear all your excuses about injured players, but your biggest asset in that club is Pep Guardiola. I mean, we can all agree on this panel that Pep is the greatest manager right now of our generation. We can all agree to that, right? You're not going to turn around and tell me the greatest manager of our generation who sold Cole Palmer to Chelsea. He said Cole Palmer is not good enough for this Manchester City team. I'm going to send you to Chelsea to go do a madness. Like the guy who recognizes those type of talents, right? Puts out a team today and has lost 4 on the bounce, which notes that he hasn't. 18 years ago was the last time this happened to him. The issue is the 4 losses on the bounce. It's not that. It's also the fact that you're playing poorly. What exactly is going on at City? Is it the players? Are they tired? Have they lost the drive to want to win a 5-peat? Is Pep Guardiola clueless? Because we can ask those questions. Because when Brighton scored the second goal, you can go back and look at the camera when he showed Pep. Pep just did this. And when he got up, he was trying to spit saliva out of his mouth and it was dripping. Like he just looked like he was in oblivion. So, let's be honest about it. You can make excuses about, fatigue. Your players are not the only players that go to international games. Other teams have players that go for international tournaments as well, play for their country. Your players are not the only players that get injured. We've had players injured out in international tournaments that have not played for us, have come back and could not play for us. So, and when other teams make those excuses, what do you say? You say, we're City, we have credit in the bank. That's not the answer to that. We're talking about the football on the pitch. The football on the pitch is looking horrendous. It's almost like Pep, regardless of not having the players. So are we saying now that Pep can only work with quality players? Is that what we're saying? That totally nullifies the fact that we say he's the greatest manager.
Without tactic today, Daya.
Yeah.
Completely out tacticked in the second half. Yeah, 6 big chances to what, bro? 6 big chances.
Your only shot on goal was in the 90th minute plus. I watched that game totally, and I'm watching the Liverpool one too right now, and I'm taking my notes out. My pencil is here. I'm writing notes and marking it. You had 1 shot on target in the 96th minute in the second half. Like, these are questions you have to ask yourself. Where was Haaland the whole of the second half? Like, what was it that was wrong? Matthias Nunes just looked horrible. He looked like he came to do a fashion show, the way he was running with the ball. You would think he was running down a runway, trying to show them how good his jersey was. I'm like, what is going on here? This is not the City that everybody knows. I'm not a City fan, but it's clear that something is wrong. It's very, very clear that
it's not that. By the way, before Hamza comes in, it's not the players.
Hamza,
it is not the
wrong because
Hamza, it is not the players.
This is not your level.
Guys, these are not the players' problems today. Today is a manager's problem. It's a lack of ideas problem. Today, bro, Kovacic had a brilliant first half.
Yeah.
Had a fantastic first half.
Yes.
What happened in the second half? Matthias Nunes was, bro, this guy, Savinho, cooked Stupinian, right? Yes, there is no end product, but cooked him, had him on. Stupinian couldn't make one overlap run. He could. This guy, Simpson Puzzi, looked very good in the first half. He was out tactical in the second half. People have to admit that. Yes, Pep Guardiola's this, Pep Guardiola's that. He really, as Dayo said, he was out tactical second half.
He was
Out of ideas.
They brought on Belieber in the middle. Let's talk football here. They brought on Belieber, his energy, and then they also became more aggressive as a team. As soon as they had more legs in the middle and they were more aggressive in their press for the next 54 minutes, because there was 9 minutes of time added on crazily, City were not in the game. And that, for me, is where was the tactical adjustment, the substitutions, the reaction from the manager to address that situation? And again, when you read out, and I did it earlier, when you read out the players that were on that pitch today, yes, there's some injuries, but these are the players, okay? We'll accept the kids young. World-class goalkeeper, amazing experience, and youth, but Rico Lewis is experienced now. 2 seasons.
Right, he's played every game.
Okay. Brilliant player, though. Guardiol, amazing, very expensive. Carl Walker, Kovacic experience. Foden
injury.
Bruh, please don't interrupt me. Please, I'm muting you. Please don't interrupt me. Nunes, £50+ million signing. KDB came on. Bernardo Silva came on. Haaland started. Gundogan was out there. Savio is an experienced player. The way some of you were talking is as if there was no quality out there. Also on the bench still, there were other players that could have come on. He just didn't make any kind of adjustment whatsoever, and that for me is ridiculous. That is, you cannot just say, "Well,
I'll tell you why.
What can he do?"
It's simple. You have to think about Pep, the greatest manager, sitting there. He's losing the game 4 in a row. Why did he not bring other players on? Do you know why? Because he has to think these players are on the bench that he did not start are not fully fit. If I bring them on, I might lose them for 4 or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. So Ake might Ake's not going to Netherlands to play.
So he'd rather fall
for Belgium. He was scared because
Hamza, are you saying
again, Hamza? Let's say you're right. Hamza. Let's say you're right. Then let's say you're right, and he put players on his bench that are not fit enough to play. You've got one of the best academies in the world, right or wrong?
Yeah.
Right. So you go, Belieber that came on at halftime is 19, 20 years of age. You go and take one of your 19, 20-year-olds and you give him a game. You must have, I don't know about your academy, you must have players in your academy that are good technically, got a bit of power and speed about them that could play in the Premier League. It's an amazing academy. So your manager could go and do that. This is why I'm not buying this bullshit.